You join me at a tremendously exciting moment. It's Into Your Head, number 602 for Wednesday. We've a lot to get on with today. Items that need to be attended to, issues that need to be addressed, topics. Oh, topics. We've got lots and lots of topics. We're positively booming to the seams with topics. We've got topics coming out of everywhere. Every single pore in my body is oozing with topics. Unfortunately, they get blocked up sometimes. Sometimes your pores get blocked up with sweat, and that's why you have special outlets in your head that can be guaranteed to be kept clear. Your throat, for example, is kept clear of sweat. You wouldn't be putting out sweat through your throat because your throat has to be kept clear. It even has its own throat. You even have your own throat clearing mechanism whereby you can clear your throat just by doing a sort of grunt. You probably know about this already. Having survived this long as a human being as you have, you probably figured this out long ago, or else you just do it without thinking. It's built in, just like the way it's built into a dog, that the dog runs around in circles in the middle of the grass before it lies down. It's built into you that when your throat gets blocked up, you clear it so that you can continue to breathe and exhale and inhale 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 and exhale. Bollocks. Anyway, suffice to say, we've a lot to get on with today. Items that need to be attended to, issues that need to be addressed, topics. Oh, topics. We've got lots and lots of topics. Oh, there's an email. What's that? Something. It's a junk mail. Although, as they say, one man's junk mail is another man's. What's this now? Let's have a look about this. Forget about long acting medicatios. I assured her we were alone. Inspector Weymouth laughed dryly. Blah blah. That's a load of crap. That's not the sort of person who you'd buy medicine from. If you're going to buy medicine from an email. And there's an interesting thing as well. Not relevant to this. Not relevant to why we're here today. You're not even here at all today yet. You're not here yet. But I can start the show without you because it's freaking... this is all done in advance. Despite it being an on-the-fly... bollocks. Bollocks are swank. Anyway, let's put a stop to this misery and call it the beginning of the show and put in some music, and then we'll see if we can get going. You're listening to a podcast, also known in some rather geeky circles, geeky rebellious circles, as a netcast, or in some rather self-congratulatory circles as an internet radio show, except not an illegal one like they used to have. In the old days, this would be done from a ship. In the old days, I'd be sitting on a ship somewhere between the south coast of Ireland and the English Channel and Luxembourg, and I'd be on a ship. Pirate radio ship with a coat hanger sticking up out of it, and I'd be sitting here in my certainly wouldn't be sitting in here this swivel chair. I can tell you those weren't invented in the 70s, but I tell you, I'd have one eye looking out from under my pirate eye patch, watching out for the cops, because it was illegal to have an independent radio broadcast system in those days. You either worked for the government broadcasting agency, or else you were considered a pirate. They said that fella's illegally talking to people on the radio and playing music, playing young people's beats. That's what they used to do. They played young people's beats, which in those days were things that we nowadays think of as old classics. Things like, for example, they'd play stuff like The boys are back in town. The boys are back in town. Don't know what they've been talking about, but the boys are back in town. The late great Phil Lynott, they'd play stuff like him, and they'd play stuff like, what else would they play? They'd hear, all we hear is Radio Gaga. Radio Goo Goo Radio. That was later on in the 80s though, but you get the general idea. They'd play music and they'd broadcast it into a nearby country, and this would be considered an act of rebellion. Young people will go off, they'd say to their parents, they'll say, I'm not going to university, I'm going to make myself a little life raft, and I'm going to float it out into the English Channel and go and find myself a pirate radio, and tell them if they don't pick me up, I'm going to drown. I'm going to tell them if this dinghy, I'll puncture the dinghy in front of them, I'll make a small hole in it, and I'll say I've calculated that this will take approximately 8 hours to deflate, and we're about 16 hours from the mainland, so if you don't rescue me here, you can be damn sure the hell is Christ that you'll be responsible for my death. And of course the parents will think, so your career plan is to ask some law people who have nothing but contempt for the law and all that's good, to try to count on rely on their goodliness to pick you up and rescue you and then give you a job. And you'll say, the kid would say to that, it'd say, excuse me, just because someone breaks the law, that doesn't mean they're bad people. They are bad people, admittedly. They're breaking the law, and the law is paramount in this country. But they're in another country. They're broadcasting, and I don't know how exactly it worked. So they went into international waters, and they'd point their dishes in towards our country, and they'd blast in their filthy pop music and their disc jockeys into us. Well, I want in on that. I'm sick of this crap. I'm sick of listening to this fella. Because in Ireland in those days, you turn on your radio, it's 5:45 in the morning, and there'd be a fella there, and they'd play the national anthem, and then he'd say, here's the sea area forecast. That was considered of prime importance, to give the sea area forecast for sailors. Ironically, it was the people who operated the pirate ships that relied most on this service. The one service which they needed the most was provided to them by their government, and they were grateful for that, I can tell you. They just resented the fact that apart from 2-minute sea area forecast, the rest of the day was filled up with not pop music, and they wanted to fill up the world with pop music. Pop music from the young people, people like, for example, the Jackson 5. There was Michael Jackson, Jermaine Jackson, Janet Jackson, Janet Joplin. No, not Janet Joplin. The other two. I don't know. Who were the other two? There was plenty of Jacksons anyway. There was more than enough Jacksons to go around. In fact, there still is, I think you'll find. There's still several Jacksons left. They've been doing reunion gigs, looking quite old for their former age. Well, that's appropriate, because time has passed, and the fullness of time, people start to look older, no matter how Jacksony they may be. They go older and wise. As the that Radiohead so-called song goes, fitter, wiser, happier, more productive. If you listen to the album OK Computer by Radiohead, there's a so-called song that's just a computerized voice saying fitter, happier, more productive, something, 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 and there's weird noises behind it. It's like something you'd hear on in the last hour or so of Clockwork Orange, or it made in the late 1990s with a soundtrack by Radiohead, I suppose, would be the nearest I could get to illustrating what it might sound like. Now, I can't remember whether this segment was to be put in before the beginning of the show or after the ads, after the bit where I do the poem, so I'm going to stop it now and go back and see and find my place here.
You're listening to Into Your Head because you couldn't find anything better now, could you?
Monkey nuts, that's what they called them. They called them big steaming piles of monkey nuts. Except when there's only one, they say there's a monkey nut. It's not in itself a big steaming monkey nut, but if you had a pile of them, I can tell you it would be a big steaming pile of monkey nuts. On its own, though, it's nothing. It's just an individual speck, a speck on the it's a speck on the back of a dot on the back of a cheetah that's glued to the back of a miniature spider under a microscope inside an amoeba on a planet in a solar system that's one of 10 billion solar systems. That's one of that's in one of 100 trillion universes. That's in one of 10 trillion different timelines. That's on the back of a cat's gnat. Not a cat's gnat. I messed up that metaphor. It's not a metaphor though. It's just a very. The whole point is, they say, you don't become a big steaming pile of monkey nuts unless there's other monkey nuts there. A monkey nut itself on its own is nothing. No, that's the thing we forget. We overlook with these things. We look at a monkey nut, we'll get a monkey nut out and we say, let's have a look at this monkey nut thing that this fella's been going on about now for the last year and a half on his podcast. He's going on about this monkey nut thing, and you think, I know you've done this, the regular listener. You've taken out a monkey nut in your hand and you've had a look at it and you say, oh, this looks perfectly harmless. Look, now even this thing that I'm holding isn't even a monkey nut. This is just a prop I'm using here because I wouldn't have monkey nuts in the Into Your Head studio, I can tell you. So no, this monkey nut on its own, it looks like a caffeine pill. It looks completely harmless. But if I were to get a whole jar of these and put them all together, a whole jar of these nuts, pretend they're monkey nuts, they're not as wacky as this. If I was to get a jar of them and pour them down my gullet, I can tell you, that's when you'd see a big steaming pile of monkey nuts, and then you'd think, Christ, this is what happens when they get together. This is why we have to keep, this is why prisons have segregated cells on their own, they're nothing. They're just a perfectly innocent monkey nut going about its day in a perfectly reasonable manner. But no, and then imagine if you open up a can of energy drink like this. No. And you pour a bit of that into you down on top of the monkey nuts. Now I know what you're thinking there. You're thinking monkey nuts grow in jungles. They're not unused to having a bit of liquid poured on top of them. They'll survive. Well, that's exactly the point. Not only will they survive, they'll thrive. They'll thrive just as they do in wet, torrential rain in the rainforest. That monkey nut that you just put into your stomach is going to grow and thrive. And stomach acid or no stomach acid, I'll tell you, people get all worked up over this stomach acid issue. They say, oh, look, your stomach is full of acid. You have to neutralise it by, Hold on a minute. I'll just read this text. Oh, no, that's interesting. There's a delivery. You don't mind, I'm going to interrupt myself there. And what I'm about to say may not make any sense if you were listening to what you just heard. But I faded out what you just heard because it was about to become uninteresting. And I do realise that a bit you may have heard me say while being faded out, you may have heard me utter the words, oh, this is interesting. Well, I meant interesting to me and interesting to those around me. That doesn't necessarily mean it's interesting to you, the listener of a podcast, and that's why you won't be hearing any more of that. You won't be hearing any more of that. You might as well be listening to a cat. Is that a poem? It is now. Yeah, you won't be hearing any more of that. You might as well be listening to something cat. Does that scan properly? That's right. Let's write a poem. We write a poem. You might as well. I've been trying to write more poems recently. You won't be hearing any more of that. you might as well be listening to a cat. There's something needs an extra syllable, or something needs a syllable taken away there, or something, but we'll worry about that later. I've accidentally put in a bullet point there. You don't need bullet points in verse. The verse itself, the versical poetic format is itself a punctuation. It's a proper, less harsh, but anyway, you won't be hearing any more of that. You might as well be listening to a cat. What else? On second thoughts, this starts to be. On second thoughts, this may seem repetitious, but on second thoughts, monkeys are delicious, so don't take too much notice of these so-called second thoughts. They more often than not, they are the mere result of monkey nut poisoning. Now, if I wasn't so restricted by the poetic format here, I could add in a long and explanatory paragraph explaining the difference between monkey nut poisoning and being poisoned by a monkey nut. Monkey nut poisoning means someone gets some poison that's being made from monkey nuts and finds a person who's allergic to monkey nuts and poisons them with it, which technically I don't know whether you call that poisoning or not. But monkey nut poisoning, on the other hand, that's when that's pretty much, that's when, in this particular context, in this poem, it's where inhaling of monkey nuts has messed with your critical thinking processes and caused you to have second thoughts, of which you shouldn't take much notice. But who's to say your first thoughts weren't the result of some sort of monkey nut poisoning too? I don't know. I leave that open because it's a poem. It's meant to inspire thought. Let's have a look at this again. You won't be hearing any more of that. You might as well be listening to a cat. On second thoughts, this may seem repetitious, but on second thoughts, monkeys are delicious. So don't take too much notice of these so-called second thoughts. More often than not, they are the mere result of monkey nut poisoning. Does that make sense? It probably does. It will in due course. If I remember back to my school days properly, the first time you read a poem didn't make any sense at all. Then you read through it a few more times, and then you'd start to recognise a few words, and a few things would start to make sense, and then before you know it, you're able to explain the whole thing. Hopefully that'll happen with this now. Should I save this somewhere? I probably should. Monkey nut poem. I'll save it as my monkey nut poem. You might come back and work on this further another time. Put it up on the blog, maybe intoyourhead.com. Monkey nut poem under construction. Save. Well, I should probably save it, should I? Suppose I might as well. Won't do any harm. Unless it's got child pornography embedded in it or something that I've been infected with. It won't do me any harm to save that poem here. Now, where are we apart from that? Yes, we were writing a poem. That's what we were doing. I was writing a poem. You were witnessing the creative process, my dual creative processes. Not only were you witnessing me creating today's show, today's on the fly monologue, you're also witnessing me creating a poem for the first time ever live on a podcast. Absolutely fucking fantastic. Basically, I was out of ideas for today's show, so I started doing that, and now we've got half an episode done. Absolutely fucking fantastic. It's time to advertise something. Do you like this show? Not today, obviously, but do you like this show when it's at its normal high quality? Well, if so, you might like to note it's completely free, that I spend quite a lot of time doing it, and it's usually a lot better than this. And if you're one of the people who recognises that, then you may like to help support the show every time you shop on Amazon. Instead of going directly to Amazon, go through my Amazon links at intoyourhead.com, then proceed onwards to your Amazon store, and I get a commission on anything you buy. It doesn't cost you anything, and it helps me do this. It helps me subsidise my creative art, because it's all about the arts here. You're patronising the arts here. You're patronising some lunatic at the other side of the world recording himself writing a poem about whether monkey nuts are poisonous. Isn't it absolutely fantastic? And why the hell not? What's his name from Family Guy can go on and put a thing about a baby beating up a talking dog. Then surely to Christ, you can't have too much objections about me doing this. It's not as if anyone's going to make me a billionaire from it. No. Anyway, on with the show. Now, I know what you're thinking there. You're thinking, oh Christ. You're thinking, oh fucking hell, Christ. Christ on a popsicle stick. However, what a popsicle stick is, I'm not sure. Is a popsicle stick the thing that you put in the freezer that you dip stuff in to have a cool ice pop thing? Or is it the thing that you put in the lollipop that's round and tubular and white? Or are they both considered of the same family? Because, I mean, you can get a frigging tabby cat and get a line and say those two are of the same family as well. Well, which one would you want in your freezer dipped in a frigging orange juice, half of orange juice, half water, half sugar combination? Which one would you want? I don't know. If it was me, I'd want neither. I just want to... That's why we have supermarkets. That's why we spent the last 300 years developing supermarkets, so that we no longer have to figure out whether that's a frigging line or a frigging domestic cat that you've caught in the jungle, and which one you should put in your free. I would maintain neither. You go down to the shop, you look at the aisles and you see which one says stuff for your freezer. You can usually just see the freezers there, and I know that stuff that you're getting there is already in the freezer, but the idea is you transfer it into your smaller freezer in smaller quantities, and you can always be damn sure to hell as Christ that no matter what happens, if your freezer runs out of this particular item and you want more, you can come back to where you got it in the first place, and it'll be being magically replaced, but thanks to the miracles of stock control. This is all a bit obvious, isn't it? Well, it's very easy to say that it's obvious when you've just heard it, when you spent the last 2 minutes and 3 seconds listening to something being described to you. It's very easy to say, oh, that stuff's obvious, I knew all that. You may well have known all that, but have you ever thought about it? Not until now, no. Are you even thinking about it now? Are you thinking about where this is going? Or are you thinking about the fact that the first half of this show with all the frigging the stuff about the pirate ships and the radios and the monkey poisoning thing was far superior to this? Are you thinking about the fact that you have to take the good with the bad, the ugly with the not ugly. You have to take and it's the same. Well, it's the same with the cat thing. You have to take your cheetah stroke lion stroke mountain gorilla on the popsicle stick, and you have to take your kitten on the popsicle stick. Although don't freeze that. Why would you put a fucking kitten in the freezer? You wouldn't. You're getting your metaphors mixed up here. No. The issue here is back in the old days. There was a time when you used to have to go out in the jungle and catch yourself a mountain lion or whatever you ate in those days, and you had to hunt it down and kill it, and there was no freezers in those days, I can tell you, so you better make damn sure you had either a huge appetite or a good compost heap with a good cover on it to put the remains onto, or else I suppose you'd share out throughout the community. You'd go around, go around boasting all over the place about it, that you've caught something that's so big you can't eat it all by yourself. And of course people will say to that, well, why didn't you, if you were faster catching it, you would have caught it before it grew that big, and then you'd have just enough for yourself and your family, and then you wouldn't have to be going around trying to find hungry mouths into which to put the rest of it. But no, you had to be a show-off. You had to wait until it grew to these gigantic... You see, that's what people don't realise about these cavemen who went hunting down saber-toothed tigers. They hunted the small ones. They hunted them while they were young and small and harmless. They were pretty much kittens, and they were quite easy to catch then. That's why they had to go out. Do you never see the hole in that theory where people say, oh, these people used to spend their days 9 to 5 out and about hunting down saber-toothed tigers? No. The reason why they had to do it every day was because they caught 2-month-old saber-toothed tigers, and that was only enough for at best 2 meals, maybe a sandwich to bring with them the next day on their way to work, and then they had to go and catch another one the next day. They weren't chasing down these huge fucking animals. And this is why they wanted fucking Seth MacFarlane to do the Flintstones remake. It's not happening now, because someone finally copped on to this crap. Anyway, good morning. You won't be hearing any more of that. You might as well be listening to a cat. On second thoughts, this may seem repetitious, but on second thoughts too, monkeys are delicious. So don't take too much notice of these so-called second thoughts. More often than not, they are the mere result of monkey nut poisoning, which also happens to affect the creative side of the human brain, particularly the region that deals with arranging written language into pleasant poetic phrases. The end.
Sit, Muddy, sit. Good cat.